Okay guys, so this is Jehu Ryder and I thought that I would do a vid on Stellarium and how to import celestial objects into the program. I'm noticing still on a lot of the astronomy Yahoo groups that people are talking about this where they're asking, hey, I don't know how to import these objects in there that I'm looking for. Stellarium comes with an extensive set of celestial objects already in it in your data file, and the others that you may be looking for, they're on the servers, but you still have to import them. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. If you're not familiar with Stellarium, Stellarium is basically it's a open source piece of software. It's dubbed a planetarium for your computer. Another good program that you can try is Celestia. I use both of the programs. I've been using Stellarium a little bit more than Celestia lately. Stellarium is earthbound, which kind of means that when you are looking up at the stars, or you're looking at the stars in the software program, it's based off of you looking at them from a certain location on Earth, whereas with Celestia you can go and click somewhere in the solar system and then look at what's around that area. So that's really the primary difference between the two. All of them are chock full of features. They're very aesthetically pleasing, very realistic, and they're very well designed and made. And they're both pretty lean, so they're not resource hogs. So that's a really good thing too if you're worried about something like that. Because I've seen some programs in the past that have been just notorious for being resource hogs, and these particular two are not. So that's a cool thing too. I mean, they're getting a little bit leaner on how they're designing these things, but not at the sacrifice of the realism behind these planetarium software programs that they have out. With that said, if you don't have Stellarium already, you're interested in trying out Stellarium, you can go to www.stellarium.org. There are some platform icons at the top on the front page. You can click on those, whatever is related to your particular machine that you're using. I'm going to assume that you already have Stellarium installed on your system. You may or may not have gotten as far as setting your location. If not, I am going to show you how to do that. And I actually reset my data files so that I could walk you guys through that as well. Because you're not going to be able to really use the program with any accuracy until you actually set your particular location for where you are or where you're wanting to view the stars. When you first set up this program, or you install the program and you open it up, you're going to notice that the stars may not be in the right spot. And that's because it's popping up or defaulting to Paris, France as the location. And you can see right down here in the left-hand corner it says Paris, and it's got the altitude for it. Now, hey, if you're in Paris, France, then more power to you. You're set to go. But if you're not, then you are going to have to set your location, and I'm going to show you how to do that. There are two primary menu options that are used in Stellarium. You've got your horizontal menu option right here, and then you have your vertical menu option right here. In this vid, we're actually going to use the vertical menu option the most. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to Location Window, or you can click F6. When you click on that box, I'm going to speed through this just a little bit, but you're going to see here there's a whole bunch of locations already set in your data file when you first installed Stellarium, and you can type in your location and see if it pops up. A place that I love, it's just so dear to my heart, but I know it's not in there. I tried this earlier, which is Taos, New Mexico in the United States, and I typed in Taos and it's not popping up. I can type in the state of Taos, which is going to be New Mexico, and it does pop up, not Taos, but it does give 4 locations in New Mexico that are already in the system. So you can play around, try to find your location. If it is definitely not in there, you can choose a city that's close by, and it may not be entirely accurate, but hey, it may work for you. If that floats your boat, then good for you. Or the other option is, if you want to make sure that you have pinpoint accuracy, what you can do is you can manually add your location. You can go to somewhere like Google Maps and type in your location, and it'll provide you with the coordinates. And you can put the coordinates in this area right here, and you can name the location, and you can click on Add to List, and it'll update it into the data file for you. So I'm actually going to type in a known area. I'm going to type in Albany, and I'm going to select New York. Okay, you may have noticed my set of stars have changed, and that is because now the software has been told to point towards a set of stars that is originating from Albany, New York. So that's how you're going to set your location, depending on where you are. And if this is your home location and you're not just being curious and selecting certain stuff, you may want to click on Use as Default. The reason being that when you exit out of Stellarium and you go back in, you may find that it has defaulted back to Paris, France if you don't have this selected as your default location. All right, so you got your location set. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty. How do we view celestial objects? How do we import celestial objects that aren't there? And it's a lot more simpler than you may think. And people are having a little bit of difficulty with it, but it's only because I think they don't know where they're supposed to go to actually find what objects are currently in the data file and how to import it. So you're going to go back to your vertical menu option, and you're going to click on this wrench right here that says Configuration Window, or you can click on F2. After you click on that, you're going to get the configuration window is going to pop up, and just go ahead and click on Plugins. And then our focus in this vid is going to be on comets, but you can see there's a lot of stuff here that you can work with. But again, we're focusing on comets and asteroids, things like that. So to find that, you would click on Solar System Editor, and then you would click on Configure. After you click on that, you're going to click on the tab that says Solar System, and a list is going to pop up here. And currently what this list is, this is everything that is currently in your data file. If you are a Comet ISON watcher and this is a fresh copy of Stellarium that you have, it is most likely already in there. Comet ISON has become a big point of interest, so it has been updated, and it is a default in the data files. And I'm going to show you, it should be, yep, there it is right there. Now, there's another comet that I've been watching quite closely for a little bit of time, and that's 2P Inky. And 2P Inky is not a defaulted object in the data file, so we're actually going to use 2P Inky as our example here for the vid, because most likely at this point you probably already have ISON already in there. So, but what you can do is just whatever you're looking for, you can go through this list and see what's in there and what's not. If what you're looking for is not in there and it's a comet or an asteroid, something of that effect, then you're going to be able to add this very easily. What you'll do is you'll go down here to where it says Import Orbital Elements in MPC format. You'll click on that. And then 2P Inky is a comet, so I'm going to select comets. And after I select comets, I'm going to go to the drop-down box right here, and I'm going to select the first option, which says MPC's list of observable comets. And then I'm going to click on Get Orbital Elements. After I do that, another list pops up, and these are all of the known comets in our system. So we're going to go ahead and you may have noticed we already had ISON in the previous list, so we're not really worried about that. It's already there. So if you're looking for ISON and you found it in that previous list, you do not have to check this. This is only for items you're looking for that were not in the previous list. I know that 2P Inky's not in there. I looked for it. It wasn't there. So I'm going to scroll down until I can find 2P Inky. It should be coming up soon here. I might have passed it. Oh, there it is. There's 2P Inky. Now, you can select multiple objects if you like. There's only one that I'm really interested in. So I've selected what I want to make sure is in my data file now. And I'm going to click on Add Objects. You notice that there's no OK, there's no real confirmation. The box just disappears. That pretty much is your confirmation that the objects were added. So you're going to close out of all these boxes. and it's now in your data file. But for Stellarium to realize that it's now in your data file, you do have to exit out of Stellarium and go back in. So what you're going to do is you're going to go down to the horizontal menu option, and there's a little power button icon right there. You're going to click on that bad boy, and then you're going to reopen Stellarium. And now that Stellarium is opening back up, I'm going to show you how to search for the object that we just added. So you're going to go, always check, just to, just to have a little bit of confirmation there and to make sure you're in the right spot. As you can see, it's got Albany, New York, which is the location I had set that I wanted to view from. You can go to the vertical option menu here, and you're going to click on Search Window or F3. And if you were following along with me, it was 2P Inky that you added, so you can type 2P, and you can see that it's the name for the comet has populated up here. So you don't have to type this whole thing out if you don't want to. You can simply just click Search. And as you notice, the data for the comet has shown up right here. But you also may have noticed that the camera here has pointed towards the ground. That is because right now, where I am at on Earth in Albany, New York is what I've set it to, Inky is on the other side of the planet, and right now the horizon, or the Earth, the ground, is impeding my view. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to disable the ground from the view of the software. And how to do that, you're going to go back to the horizontal menu option, and there's this little icon right here. It says ground, or you can click on G. You're going to go ahead and press that to deactivate it. And as you can see, there's that big, beautiful, bright sun. You've got Saturn and Mercury is showing, 2P Inky, and even Comet Ison is there. Now, you may have noticed that you're not really seeing any objects here minus the sun. All you're seeing is just basically the labels of those objects. So for you to be able to see it, you may have also noticed that you're not seeing any stars. Well, that's kind of odd because we know there are stars there. So what you're going to have to do is, right now, there's an atmosphere is actually impeding your view. So you're going to have to disable the atmosphere as well. So you go back down here to the horizontal menu options, and right there is the icon atmosphere. You can click on that, and there you go. You've got stars, you've got planets, you've got two beautiful comets right there. There's 2P Inky. There is Comet Ison right there. And if you're not familiar with Comet Ison, I gotta tell you, do some homework, do some research. It is really an amazing comet. It's really living up to its name of being the comet of the century. Now, it is showing right now, it's showing that it is disintegrating. It may not make perihelion. And perihelion means that that's when it swings around the sun. And it may not make that. It's showing signs it's disintegrating or it's breaking up. And there's a couple of reasons why we know that it looks like it's doing this. It's had two outbursts, which are essentially very brilliant and violent bursts of light or brightening from the comet itself. Those are very, very good indications that the comet is exploding, or that it's going to. The other thing that we do know is that in the last 24 to 48 hours, we had an X-flare, a pretty high X-flare from the sun had hit Ison, and it stripped away the coma of the comet. So all you're seeing is basically the nucleus right now. And it also did one other thing. It actually detached the tail from the comet. So you've got the nucleus all just, kind of bare, and the coma has been stripped away, and then you've got the tail that is detached from the comet, but it's actually following the comet in its wake. So this is really a fascinating comet. If it does make perihelion, this is going to be quite a show. It is believed to, it'll be about 10 times brighter than the moon in pure broad daylight if it makes perihelion. Will it make perihelium? That's the big question right now. Again, it's looking like it's disintegrating, and that's not going to happen. But there's been so much data from this comet. It's so amazing and it is so big that I would be apt to say that this still very truly could be the comet of the century, even if it does not make perihelium and it does explode or it breaks apart before it ever makes it itself around the sun. But it's a gorgeous comet, absolutely gorgeous. And of course, if you are looking at any of the stereos with NASA, you will notice, especially I think over the next day or two, 2P Inky and C2012S1, which is ISON, they're going to be appearing as if they're traveling parallel. They're not really traveling parallel, I don't think, but they're going to appear as if they are, just because the way the stereos are positioned. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you've got some cameras that are set up, and you've got a stereo A, you've got a stereo B, and then you've got Earth. They kind of make a triangle, and with where they're pointing, it's just been in the past couple of days, 2P Inky had entered stereo A, I believe, in the view of stereo A, and we were able to catch 2P Inky on the cameras. And just in the past couple of days, ISON has made its way into view, and we're able to get a really good glimpse of ISON in relation to Inky in size. And that's one of the things that has just really gotten astronomers just going nuts, is the idea or the estimate of what they had of the size of ISON is nowhere near what they thought it was. In fact, it's quite possibly 40 times larger than what they initially expected ISON was, or that it would be by the time that it was getting closer to the sun. It's really a remarkable comet, regardless if it makes perihelium or not. This has been an amazing comet, and there's a lot to learn from it, and it's just crazy what ISON has done and how it's traveled and the amount of data that we've been able to get from it. But that's a really cool thing if you're interested in looking at the stereos and you're wanting to see 2P Inky and ISON traveling what appears to be parallel. They're really not, but it's going to appear like they're being parallel. You're going to be able to see that over the next couple of days. And of course, we're coming into kind of the final hours of will ISON make perihelium or not. That is actually supposed to happen on Thanksgiving Day, this upcoming Thursday. Will that happen? I don't know. There was a pseudo-astronomer just this past week, a well-respected guy, who made a comment. He was asked about, will ISON make perihelium? And he flat out said it would take an absolute miracle for it to make perihelium at this point, because of all the data that we're getting in is saying that this comet is going to explode before it gets to the sun. But what's interesting is that even if the comet explodes, you still have the tail untouched, and that's going to be traveling, that will still travel towards the sun and will make perihelium around it. So even if the nucleus doesn't make it, the comet doesn't make it, the tail is still going to whip around, and that's a whole different subject right there on what transpires with that and what we're going to see. But again, this is how you view celestial objects, and how you import them into Stellarium if you're using the program Stellarium. Hopefully, I didn't make it too technical and it was easy to follow. If you guys have questions, you're more than welcome to leave comments, and I will answer you guys. Love you guys. God bless. Keep your eyes on the skies, and take care.